The sea groaned like an ancient beast beneath the cliffs, its waves tearing at the black rocks with a hunger that never ceased. Above it stood the lighthouse, tall, thin, a ghost of stone and salt, leaning ever so slightly toward the abyss. The light at its crown blinked through the fog like a dying eye, slow, uneven, gasping. The keeper arrived long before dawn, though the sky was colorless and time seemed to have folded into itself. He did not speak, nor did the sea answer him. The heavy iron door gave way with a sound that felt more alive than anything else around him. Inside, the air was thick with brine and oil, the scent of centuries pressed into the walls. The spiral staircase coiled upward like a serpent's spine, vanishing into shadows that pulsed faintly with the rhythm of the revolving light. Each step groaned as he ascended, the echo chasing itself around the stone cylinder. The light above flickered again, once, twice, then steady, an illusion of safety. He reached the lantern room. The glass panes were smeared with salt and age, and through them the endless fog breathed against the world, concealing everything but the circling beam. He adjusted the mechanism, watched the gears turn, the flame steady itself, and for a brief moment the sea below shimmered, like something vast was moving just beneath its skin. When he descended again, he noticed it, the faint dripping sound from the lowest floor. It wasn't water. It was thicker, slower. He followed it downward, past the cramped sleeping quarters and rusted oil drums. At the base, where the lighthouse roots met the cliff, there was a hatch. It was open. He did not remember leaving it that way.
The air down there was colder, not the kind of cold that comes from the sea, but one that breathes from the stones themselves. The dripping grew louder, echoing in uneven rhythm. The keeper's lantern swayed as he stepped into the chamber beneath the lighthouse, a hollow he'd never seen before, though he'd tended this light for as long as he could remember. The walls were slick, carved by something not human. In the center of the floor was a shallow pool of water, but the reflection it offered was wrong. The light from his lantern did not fall upon it. Instead, it sank into the surface like ink into paper. And then it moved. The reflection rose, not as his image, but as something formed from darkness itself. It stood in the shape of him, faceless, trembling with a faint shimmer like heat over asphalt. The keeper stepped back, breath shuddering, but the thing stepped forward, perfectly mirroring him. He turned toward the stairs, but the steps spiraled upward endlessly, no longer leading to the door he had entered through. The lighthouse groaned again, louder now, as though the sea had climbed into its walls. He climbed anyway, each step dragging him through time that refused to pass. When he reached the top, the lantern room was different. The glass was shattered. The light no longer turned. It hung motionless, an orb of steady white fire that hummed softly. He looked out and saw the sea below had vanished. In its place was an abyss, smooth and silent, reflecting the lighthouse itself in perfect symmetry. He blinked, and the reflection blinked back a moment too late. He turned, but the room behind him was gone. Only the light remained, now brighter, whispering in a tone that wasn't sound, but memory. He felt his name, unspoken, unravel inside it.
Time had become a tide, pulling, receding, returning again. The lighthouse pulsed in rhythm with something older than light itself. He could feel it beneath his skin, threading through his veins, dragging him toward the window. Outside, the fog parted, and in the reflection below, he saw the truth. The keeper standing at the window, the same face, the same movements, but older, thinner, hollow-eyed. The reflection reached out its hand, pressed it to the glass. He felt the cold from the other side. When he lifted his own hand, the mirror broke, not with a sound, but with silence so deep it made his ears bleed. The world shifted. The sea returned, violent and endless. The light spun again. The stairs below creaked. Footsteps. Heavy. Slow. Ascending. Someone was coming up. The keeper turned toward the spiral and saw himself climbing. His own face, pale and wet with salt, his own lantern swaying with each step. He stepped back, but the room did not move with him. The air thickened as if the lighthouse inhaled. The other him reached the final step and stood still, lantern between them. No sound, no breath, only the hum of the light above, now pulsing faster, almost frantic. The flame turned blue. The second keeper, his reflection, his shadow, his past, lifted the lantern and smashed it against the wall. The oil ignited instantly, crawling across the floor like living flesh. The fire licked the walls, devouring everything it touched. The keeper fell backward, the heat stealing his breath. He crawled toward the stairs, but they were gone, replaced by the same hatch at the base. He crawled through it, through smoke and darkness, until the cold swallowed the heat. He stood once more at the bottom of the lighthouse, looking up the spiral that stretched into nothing. The walls were clean. No fire, no smoke, no sound but the eternal beat of the sea. He looked down. The pool was there again, black and still. He stared into it and saw the light turning above, steady, perfect. Then he saw himself within the reflection, already tending the flame. The lantern light blinked once, twice, steady. The cycle had begun again. The sea roared outside, uncaring. The keeper ascended the stairs, as he always had, as he always would. And above the fog, the lighthouse burned its eternal eye across the dark horizon, guiding no one, watching nothing, yet never dying. The light never faded.